I've just received my Apple Studio display here back from repair, so I wanted to do a quick video about AppleCare. Now, is it something that's worthwhile paying for, or is it just one of these gimmicks that's designed to move money from your wallet straight into Tim Cook's pension fund? Actually, I think AppleCare is a wise purchase, but it depends on what you're buying. Let me just explain what's happened with my display here and the experience that I've had. So I found this kind of little black mark that was up here on the display, and I took a photo of it, so I popped that up. And I did wonder if it was just part of the background image, so I changed the background image, moved windows around, and the black mark wasn't moving. And at first glance, it looked like I had a sort of little line of dead pixels or something like that. But when I looked a bit more closely, I think actually it's probably one of those little black insects. I think they might be called thrips. Someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. Anyway, one of those had managed to climb in behind the display, I believe. And I find that a little bit disappointing on a £1,500 display. Just over behind the camera, I've got my other desk where my PC is set up, and I connect that to a Dell 32-inch 4K display. Now that's been in this cabin here for 4 years, and I've got no insects behind the display or any issues with it. So pretty disappointing that it happens on the more expensive studio display. Nonetheless, I paid for AppleCare, so I got in touch with Apple. I sent them a photo of what it was. They said it needed to be repaired. And they put me in touch with a company here in the UK called Group 8. And I have to say, Group 8's service was impeccable. So first of all, they just said, oh, they'll arrange shipping if I can put it back in its box. My box is actually at my office, so I said, I haven't got a box, so they sent a box out to me, which is really nice. So a proper shipping container. I packed it up, called them up again and sent it back. The technician that actually worked on the display phoned me and we had a conversation about it. I said to him, I think it might just be one of those insects. He was cool with that. They did a repair. I don't know what they did, but obviously they took off the glass screen and cleaned it because it's not there anymore. And this is a kind of trivial thing. So if it was one of those insects, which I believe it probably was, then really, yeah, you could argue that Apple should have done a better job in sealing up this display, but also you could argue it's not actually a technical fault. If you were to take it into the store, you'd have to rely on your sort of consumer rights. Of course, here in the UK, those don't apply if you're buying for business, and I am a business, and I did buy through my business account, so consumer rights don't apply. So buying AppleCare in that situation is a good idea, and I just pay for it annually. So it's not a huge amount going out each year. It is actually a proper insurance product, and it's underwritten by the insurance giant AIG, or at least it is here in the UK. And we have a simple policy with our web development studio. If we buy any computers from £1,500 and above, we'll put AppleCare on them because it just makes sense and it saves you a load of trouble. You don't have to take it to the Apple store. They'll do a collection and a repair. And I think that's a pretty good thing to have for equipment that you rely on for your job. So it's an insurance product. That's the way to look at it. And if the money's going to AIG, then my guess is Apple just claim against that when they do repairs. So it's not like it's an Apple tax like the ludicrous upgrade prices. So yeah, I've put AppleCare on my new MacBook Air. I've got it on my MacBook Pro. Anything basically £1,500 and above, I'll put it on. When I bought my wife's MacBook Air, the 15-inch one, I can't remember what that cost, but it wasn't as much as 1,500. I didn't bother putting AppleCare on it. I always put AppleCare on my phones because if you drop your phone or an iPad, for example, and you smash it, then you can get that sorted as well. You do pay an excess if there's accidental damage, but if you're spending a huge amount of money on these devices, why wouldn't you insure them? So this isn't meant to be a sales pitch for AppleCare. I just wanted to share my experience. And it's just such a silly thing, you know, an insect gets in behind the display. But because I've got that insurance and I'm paying for it, problem got sorted. Took just over a week from them picking up the monitor to me getting it back. So a little bit inconvenient, I suppose, to be without it for that time. But I'm very happy that I've got a nice screen with no black marks on it. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks as always for your support for the channel. See you next time for some more Geekery.